I have the pleasure today of presenting on a very light but a very pressing topic, Russian cultural memory, and in particular the premise of 1,000 years of history and how it is being crafted into the official Russian national identity. Since as early as 2004, the Russian political center has laid claim to 1,000 years of history, a view that is imbued with stability and continuity. It seems contradictory when even a cursory glance over the last 100 years of Russian history is anything but stable, with at least 4 independent polities inhabiting the Russian space. I believe that at the heart of this puzzle is the attempt of the Russian political center to reconcile rupture with narratives of stability. And I argue the most clear example of this are the attempts to bridge Russia's imperial past to its present, through rehabilitating core facets of the Russian Empire's Belle Epoque, such as the First World War, the reign of Nicholas II, and the revolutions of 1917. This has been achieved by subtly changing focus and interpretations of these periods through rhetoric, speeches, official cultural practices, commemoration, and even physical space, so as to support contemporary cultural and political practices. Now, I'm sure a few of you are wondering why this really rather subtly English person is talking to you about Russia and Russian culture. The short answer is that as a child, I struggled and hated to read. To remedy this, my grandmother would force encyclopedias and atlases on me, pointing to things and places she knew and telling me about them. And the great landmass of Russia grabbed my attention and sparked my passion for all things Russian. And at 18, my grandmother took me to Russia for the first time. On our first day, we walked out onto Red Square, and this is Red Square, in case you didn't know. And I was struck by the physical complexities that the legacies of the Soviet Union and of the Russian Empire and what they have to do with Russia today. Prime of place on the square over here is Lenin's mausoleum, a monument to the central figure of communism. A stone's throw from a department store with all of the luxury goods you could possibly want. Both are in the shadow of the Kremlin. It is a physical manifestation of how the Russia of today relates and reconciles to its various pasts. A question that is often asked is, what makes Russia special? I think the answer is relatively simple. Its history, its language, its literature, and its culture are so various and so diverse. So too is the manner in which the Russian political center engages with its wider population. At the heart of this engagement is history and the past in informing official narratives and official interpretations of Russian national identity. History is alive. It's not something that academics write down and talk about in their offices or something we forget about. It imbues our being, our cultures, and the spaces that we inhabit. It is a constant process of sorting views, opinions, and narratives to fit the wants and needs of the day. Absolutely, speeches, rhetorics, film, educational resources are vital to this reading and form a really big part of my research. But we've also got to account for often overlooked areas as well, like the use of physical space. No clearer is this determination to bridge the past to the present than with the construction of the monument to the heroes of World War I. Opened in 2014 at Moscow's Poklonnaya Gora, a memorial complex to World War II. World War I has long been seen as the forgotten war of Russian history, as the Soviets cast their historical year zero to 1917. The war became a symbol of all that was wrong with the Russian Empire, and with the Russian Empire's defeat, the memory of the war just drifted into obscurity. However, in constructing this monument on the hallowed ground of the memory of World War II, one of, if not the key tenets of contemporary cultural memory and identity in Russia, there is a clear signal being sent. The war and its place in history is to be taken out from the past and embraced by the present. The monument, with its depiction of men jumping heroically forward, also echoes other representations of war in Russia. Heroism and patriotism are front and center, showing how it is a key thematic insight into how the past is meant to relate to the present, and inform this national identity that is being promoted from the political centre. Now more than ever, we need to learn to read. My research matters because if we want to understand the present, we need to learn to look at the past and see how these cultural practices that are being built up around it are being applied to today. Only then, when we have learnt to read, can we hope for a better future and a better dialogue. Thank you.